What's up, YouTube? So I'm going to do an update on the call that I had with ACES. I'll get this out of the way right now. I'm going to be taking the ACES unit off. I will try and fix whatever issue is going on with the boost lead. But I'm done with this. The company. I'm done with this unit. I don't recommend if you're running an NA setup, like. This is more so for the rotary guys, since I don't have any experience with the unit on like a traditional piston engine. But for rotary guys, if you're gonna run NA, you can run it. You're gonna need to get a tach adapter because they haven't updated the system to have any other like RPM tach signals that aren't 8-cylinder like V8s. You can't do 4-cylinder, you can't do 6-cylinder, you can't do rotary, because rotary is the same firing cycle as a 4-cylinder. But anyway, getting back to the call, like talking to them, I called 4 or 5 times, I think. I got someone in customer service that said that one of the techs would call me back after, I don't know, 30-minute hold on the phone or more. I don't remember. I was working on putting a supercharger in a GT500. No, SV650 Mustang. So I just had my phone on hold while I was working. And that was about 30 minutes until I got a hold of her. She told me that one of the techs would get back to me. So I waited. I got a phone call, I think, I want to say 45 minutes later. I missed it because I was in the middle of something and my phone didn't go off. So I called him right back as soon as I saw the missed call. Was on hold for another 45 minutes before I got somebody. I got a different person that tech, I think it was tech or customer service, I don't remember, said that the R&D tech would get back to me, and it should only take 10 to 15 minutes for a return call. I waited 2.5, 3 hours while I was working on the car. Didn't get a phone call back. Called them back. I sat on hold for probably an hour and 15 minutes, I want to say. And then they hung up on me. So then I had to call back again, and I sat on hold for another 45 minutes. So at this point, I had been on hold. I called them at, God, I want to say 9:30 in the morning, or maybe it was 9. It was like right when they opened up in Tennessee. I called them as soon as they were open, so I think it was 9. And I finally got someone on the phone at, I want to say 2:30, 3 o'clock, maybe 3:30. And it was just really unprofessional, like, wildly so, almost. Like, first when I explained the situation, they had all the information taken down from the first call that I had with the first lady. They took all that information down, so they knew vaguely what was going on. And the first question they asked was, where is my system? How is my power and ground plugged into the system? Like, I understand you have to ask some questions to like figure out what's going on, but I had a running car that I had built I was the first person, as far as I know, I'm aware of, I was the first person on the planet to get one of these units to run on a rotary engine. Like, I think I have a little understanding of like what I'm doing, but like, barring that, they have to ask their questions. Fair, like, fine. So he's asking questions about like the wiring and like whatever else about the unit, like how's it plugged in, where do you have your fuel pressure regulator running, and just like I was pretty annoyed and exhausted at this point because I'd been on the phone for almost 4 hours waiting. So my memory's a little bit vague, I guess. I was pretty upset. So after we gotten through the base questions of the system, I asked them if, first they asked me to start the engine and run it again to send them a video. And it's like, I explained to them that like it's spraying pressurized fuel onto my exhaust manifold, my intake manifold, my engine bay, everything. It's like if that sparks, it's gonna burn my garage down. And the guy's like, yeah, okay, I guess that's fair. Which like, okay. And then then I asked if it is normal for their units to push fuel out of the throttle linkage in the TPS under boost. And they gave me two answers. They said, yes, it's normal for that to happen, and that happens on all blow-through setup systems, which is just not, I mean, like, huh? What do you mean? Maybe on setups that leak like this one, sure, but not systems that are handled for boost. You don't want to push fuel into your engine bay, like. And then they told me that it's not supposed to do that, and what I need to do is adjust my acceleration versus TPS correction. And I did that. I've been fucking with the tune as like I waited to put this video out so I could go through and try and do the troubleshoot at, like with the instructions that they told me. Which what they had said is that during decel, there's fuel pooling up on the throttle blades, and it can cause fuel to push out. And it's like, sure, I could believe that. It's, you know, if there's a second where there's still a bit of boost pressure before the blow-off valve opens up and it's pushing fuel through there, I can understand that. But it's happening under acceleration with the blow-off valve closed with the engine revving. It's happening at decel and also under load with the engine running. It's not just a slap the thing shut and then it's pushing out. So it's pressurizing the bolt and pushing fuel out of it. It's not just under decel. But I explained that to them. But I wanted to try what they said. They are the experts, so I decided to try it. I pretty much turned off my acceleration versus TPS, and it's just pushing fuel out still. Doesn't matter if it doesn't matter what doesn't matter what I do to it. The only thing that seemed to work is I leaned the shit out of it, and then it kind of stops leaking fuel, sorta, but it still pushes enough out to where it's a concern. Where it's like, no matter what I'm doing to the tune, to the point where the car won't run properly, I'm leaning it out so much. It's not. There's an issue with the throttle linkage and the TPS sensor that it's just leaking. So I think it's a quality control issue. I don't think that they knew that when they were selling the units. But if you're going to be boosting these, I would be extremely careful and just monitor it. Make sure that it's not pushing fuel out onto your exhaust, because if one time you burn your car down. If you're not paying attention, you're driving around and you test driving it, it'll light the car on fire. The other thing too is that I work for a really cool hot rod shop. We work on some really cool shit. Like I said, I just supercharged the S650. It's a 2024 Mustang. We just finished up a LS swapped 1950 Chevy. You know, like we do some really cool shit. And I can't recommend these units to the customers that come in. We have to go with Holley because the level of unprofessionalism in the software is. It looks bad on people trying to install these things professionally for like a customer. There's still, it's been a year and a half. There's still spelling errors everywhere. The nomenclature in the units doesn't make much sense, not the industry standard. And I've worked with Haltech. I have some experience with Fuel Tech. I've used Holley pretty extensively, and all of their systems use roughly the same nomenclature. Like you can, if you've used Holley, you can kind of figure out Haltech because they all worded the same way. Like these units, they're not. It's like they were translated improperly, and it's still a problem. And they're, so yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be pulling the unit off. I'm gonna go Haltech. I'm gonna get an R3. Go with a different setup. I'm gonna go with a Pro J blow through setup. I'll probably do like kind of the same setup this has, but it'll be a Holley throttle plate with the Pro J bowl, and they have like up to 8 fuel injectors. I'll probably run like 4 1600cc injectors or something along those lines. I'll try and get this thing to not leak for the summer so I can enjoy my car. But if not, I mean, I'm not gonna bring it back to NA. The whole point of me spending $1,000 on this unit was because it was boost ready. That's why I sent the Sniper 2 back, because that one was also boost ready, but they technically weren't E85 compatible, and I didn't like some of the other like sensor things in the way that it's just, they were both supposed to do basically the same thing, and I feel misled, and I'm kind of just done with the company. So for anyone that is running Aces units, I wish you luck. I hope that you have a better experience than I did. Just be careful, and I'll go over the build so everybody can see. Maybe there is something that I've done incorrectly that I'm not realizing, so you can kind of see how everything is put together, and maybe the power of YouTube will show me something that I fucked up that I can fix, and then the unit will be fine. But as of so far, I don't think so. But let me bring that over there. Okay, so as you can see, here is the unit. I have a blow-off valve right here. It's a blow-through setup. I didn't run an intercooler because I'm going to be going to E85, and you don't need it. Blow-off valve is attached, gasketed, it's torqued down. There's no air leaks here. Nothing leaks there. It goes into the cap. My wastegate is where's this guy right here? So this is the compressor housing. Goes down to the wastegate. I have a 4 psi spring in there. If you can see it, that'd be great. Come on, camera. There it is. That is just spring pressure. Nothing crazy. I have my fuel pressure regulator. Is a very nice Aeromotive unit, brand new. It holds at 43.5 psi when I'm pushing the gas. It stays stable. Like you can see, it raise very slightly as it builds some boost. I haven't been able to watch it perfectly because I'm one person and I don't want to run this too long because the fuel problem. But that seems to be working absolutely fine. It is manifold referenced, so it is always getting a signal, a vacuum signal or boost signal as soon as you crack the blades. It's not ported. I have fuel lines return, and feed lines at 8 a.m. returns at 6 a.m. I have it hooked up to the thing as it should be. It's after everything. I have my right here. I have my, you can see where my fingers are. That is my feed line for the turbo. There's a filter, inline filter from the sandwich plate. I have oil pressure right there, the low dollar motorsport. Pretty easy to hook those things up in the software. You just input the calibration data for that into the sensor, and it'll read it perfectly fine. Then I have, so that is a -4, I think, feed, and then I have a -6 or -8 return underneath the turbo, straight shot. I did hard line, straight shot right into the oil pan. My ignition system's a little weird. I run a dual ignition system, stock, trailing. So the trailing spark plugs are the ones with the blue. Right, if I can get it to focus right there. The blue spark plugs, those are your trailing. That is standard, just standard Mazda igniters. And that is, they're fired individually. And then I have in my MSD, which is inside my glove box, which fires a wasted spark setup because it is a stronger spark than the stock single coil. This distributor is a vacuum distributor. It's a rare JDM vacuum, like our boost retarded distributor. So it'll retard, as far as I can understand. I can't find much on the forums, but it should be 1 psi or 1 degree of timing retard per psi boost. I have cooling for my turbo. You can see, or is it right there? I have that coming from my rear plate, where usually where it would go from the heater core. Instead, I just looped it to the top and then back to the return on the bottom of the radiator. I have a catch can, which is -10, runs up there, goes over there, right there. My fuel pump is in the back here, parallel. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not in there. Probably no. Oh well. But I have my surge tank. I have a lift pump that's basically underneath the Oh wait, there's my pumps. Yeah, so I have parallel Hollies. It's hard to see there's a car with, but yeah, there they are. So parallel Hollies, they're 1 gallon per minute, I think, or 100 gallon per minute. Yeah, and then into a surge tank, and then with a lift pump, with a 340 liter per hour lift pump. So yeah. Oh yeah, I'll put in the let me sit you down. Yeah, so that's my setup. Let me know if anything looks out of place. I can answer questions. I believe I have everything. I mean, like, the thing ran perfectly for 1,000 miles all summer last year while I was, learning the system and tuning and all that shit on NA. It ran perfectly. I had never, even on hard decels, no fuel came out on NA. So I don't understand why the boost would make I don't understand why it would be a problem now with the boosted setup. So my assumption is that the unit has too much play in the throttle linkage, and it is leaking boost out of the throttle in the TPS. That's what I think. And it's frustrating because they're pushing now a new secondary kill shot or whatever. And it's like, well, why don't you fix the things that are bad with the systems that you already have on the market? Why are you releasing a new fancy setup? I don't understand. But so what does everyone do with the kill shot ones that they bought last year? Like, it's just, I don't know. I'm frustrated with it. So let me know what you think below. I can answer any questions. Hopefully this helps somebody. I don't know. Yeah, so have a good one. Peace.
Howdy, boys. I've got my RX-7 with a 12A rotary engine running out of a 4 pounds per square inch of boost with a blow-through style setup. I'm having an issue where fuel comes out of the throttle linkage once I start to build boost, and it seems incredibly dangerous. Is this normal? I can't find many videos on people running boost. Thank you.
That fuel at the throttle linkage thing is interesting because what happens normally when I've seen that under boost is because you got a bit too much. What happens is a bit too much fuel going on at some point in the map, and it may not reflect in your AFR or Lambda, however you're reading it, and you'll have a bit on there. Or if you blip into the throttle real hard and slam the plate shut, the acceleration correction will just pull up on top of the plates, even with that little bit of extra manifold pressure, and leak out the pipes or leak out the shafts as it goes. So that's two possibilities. I've seen one do it with a weird spot of fuel in the map, and I've seen one whenever it would only do it after a heavy acceleration and then letting completely off the throttle. So check those two things out. Check your map out. Make sure it's not doing nothing funny like that. But yeah, it's normally, if it's coming out there, it means you got a bit too much fuel. And it's a rotary, so rotary is like an oddball kind of thing right now about, we don't have the best strategy for rotary stuff because it's going to read the RPMs funny, which will make all kinds of funny things happen.
Sure.
It'll put it in a weird spot of the map, which may be what you're experiencing.
Good point.